Welcome back to the Well Grounded podcast. And we are coming to you today with our last episode of season 1. And we cannot believe how quick that has gone. This is our 11th episode. So it's like really exciting to just think that all this time, all the content, all the prayers, all the different things that we've just come to this point. So we're very excited to share.
We're still going out to dinner
yes.
to be podcast pre-production.
Yes, pre-production meetings. It's always good. And so what we're going to do for today's episode, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to just put together a whole bunch of clips and reels from all the different episodes. So it's kind of our favorites. It's going to be our favorite moments. It's going to be a way that you can kind of get a little bit of a synopsis from each of them and then go back and listen to your favorites, or maybe to listen to one that you've maybe have missed.
Yes.
So we're excited for you. We want you to tune in, enjoy this next few minutes, and enjoy this last episode of season 1.
We are two longtime friends sharing about life, about marriage, about motherhood, all the things, our walks with the Lord, all of that. And today we have a great topic that we have been wanting to share with y'all, and ready to jump into that in just a minute. But we just wanted to make sure that if this is your first time with us, that you find us on Instagram and all the things, and you're always welcome. This is what we do. We just hang out and talk.
Coffee and conversation.
And so we should invite all of our friends and people that don't know us yet to come and do this with us. So we're excited to be here. And today's topic
is prayer.
So
a big topic.
Yes. It's so broad. We're not going to cover it all in a half hour. We just want to be able to share some things that have really made a difference in our prayer lives.
Yes.
Some insights and with our kids, and being able to share that with others. So, but before we do, guess what time it is?
It is time for our latte moment.
And I have almost finished my entire one before we even started. So good.
Today is really interesting because we are going to take our latte moment with a Kenyan tea. And we made this before starting our episode today. And it's really interesting because this summer, my family and I, we took a trip to Kenya, and we were able to see so many interesting things. So cool. Our sister-in-law has a ministry over there called Blue Sky Global, and she is doing fantastic things. And then we also, of course, went on a safari and saw all the animals, the things. We've had a lot of thought and prayer that's gone into our verse for this podcast and our name of Well Grounded. But we really felt like we wanted to emphasize being rooted in Christ in a friendship is just essential. Honestly, we don't know how we would do life without that. It's kind of the basis of anything that we do, whether it's praying over our kids, our marriages, and our friendships. And sometimes it takes work. Yeah. Like it just doesn't come natural to do that.
Right.
But for Leanne and I, for you and I, it just really has been over time. I would say if you went way back when, we probably were not, hey, what can I pray for you about? You know, but now our friendship is almost on a daily basis of what's going on, what can I pray for you about, and how can I help?
Yeah.
You know, we really
walking through that. And, you know, one of the things that came out of those emails for prayer requests, those texts for prayer requests, just having it in writing is, instead of saying, okay, I will pray for you, just do it now. Just pray it now.
Absolutely.
And sometimes just typing back the prayer.
Yeah.
We've done that in our chat with our friends, that just immediately your response.
Stop and pray.
And type it all out so that everybody can have that agreement and pray right then. So that whole I'll get to it, I'll pray later is hard. Like life is just moving fast and it's hard to do that. So going ahead and just doing it.
One of the fun things that we're going to do with each episode is we're going to have something called the Latte Moment. We are excited.
Time for that right now.
I know.
Dun, dun.
We even have something in our coffee cups. We're excited to have some lattes here, but we're going to do a special coffee recipe each and every time. It could even be a tea recipe. It could be something fun. We like a good tea as well as a good coffee. But coffee is about connection.
Yes.
I almost honestly think about this as a coffee, is like a coffee connection to our lives.
Yes.
Where it's a full circle moment.
Yes.
Years ago, when we had little kids, we didn't even have a coffee place to go to. There was not a Starbucks. I
No.
mean, we're going way back here, people.
We did go to each other's houses for coffee.
We would go to each other's houses, or we would go to a restaurant or something. But now that our adult kids want to hang out with us, guess where they want to go?
Yeah.
They want to meet at a coffee shop.
Cute coffee shops.
Cute ones.
You have to say cute or cool or fun.
The aesthetic. It has to have an aesthetic.
Yes.
And so it's just kind of that full circle moment that we can just sit here today and just be thinking about how God has brought us here.
That's right.
But back to the recipe. So each latte moment, we are going to share a recipe with you. So today's recipe, I want to preface that I found this on the internet. I did not create this. This is nothing.
The internet is a vast and wonderful place.
You can find this just like I can, but we are going to do something called a cinnamon roll latte. And we're going to put that recipe in our show notes. And you can go and look that up at Well Grounded Podcast on Instagram. And I want you to try this. Like, we want you to try it and let us know how you like it.
Give us that feedback.
And give us feedback. But this recipe, to me, I feel like is got a little bit of spice, a little bit of sass, and a little bit of sweet. So it's the perfect combination to totally get us started on this podcast.
Love it.
So make sure you look at those notes, and we're also going to be posting that later after the show, and you'll be able to try it out yourself. But I think it's a great thing. And listen, cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers. This is to new beginnings,
So fun.
new fun
So
things.
fun.
We had lots of random thoughts. We were always thinking, oh, what about this? What about that?
Text that to each other.
And the list got very long. And then about a month ago,
Really fast.
was absolutely crazy. My husband just came up with this great idea to say, well, why don't we do this?
Yes.
And the funny thing is,
thankful.
this room that we're actually sitting in right now, that you see all these different decorations, was actually my oldest daughter's room. And it had furniture and a bed and dressers and all that kind of stuff in it. And now we've completely renovated it and made it into this completely awesome space. So
there's significance in that too, I think.
Yes.
The child has grown up, and the parents have now, the moms are out here doing this. So.
I'm excited about this space because I just think that no matter what happens with this podcast, it's just such a refreshment to me. That there is something new in life.
Yeah.
You know, when your kids do go and start launching themselves into the world, and you're not anymore the most important person in their life.
Yes.
It's neat to know that you can still have that dream and that desire as well.
I just want to do shout out to Diane. Diane is the best at traditions and
You're too kind.
I mean it. I'm serious, but she's that friend that has the continuity, and she's that rock solid. We're going to make a plan. We're going to stick to that plan. We're going to make this a priority. And
probably sometimes to a fault, but yes.
I didn't feel that way at the time. There were, as kids got older and we got into things, it was becoming more challenging for that regular, but we had years and years and years of that continuity and that consistency and built those traditions in that my kids still talk about.
There was Christmas parties. There was summer parties.
My husband would play the carols on the piano, and we would do caroling and sing. You had a really great 4th of July, Easter, like just those fun things. And at that time, and still really to this day, I mean, we did not have extended family in town.
Yeah.
And so that was our family, that local friend group and sweet group.
Well, I want to tell you that, you know, you were that friend for me when my mom was sick, and it is a special thing. And, you know, you're in a season of life when sometimes you don't even know what you're doing from one day to the next.
Right.
And your friends become your lifelines.
Right.
You, as well as a lot of my friends, just rallied around me and my family and provided meals and made sure that we had things that we needed to just make it through another week. And when the crisis did come, I knew exactly who I could call to get that support, because sometimes, you know, you literally, the well is dry.
Right.
There is no more left to give.
Right.
And you were on the end of a lot of those phone conversations, and it's treasured. I mean, it's
I think it's sort of led to us being able to even do this. Like, we have a lot of history and we have a lot, but we can truly say we've been in the darkest valleys and the sweetest mountaintops.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we want that for our daughters. We want that for our sons. We want them to have, our husbands have that. We want them to be able to say, hey, I know I can count on these people or this person, So do you relate to pulling up those calendars, the academic calendar for each of your kids' schools?
Yes.
And oh no, we have 2 different spring breaks, the high schooler and the college.
We actually had 4 different spring breaks.
Oh my goodness.
And I go, well, that means we're just really not going to do anything together.
A whole month though.
Yes.
Someone's spring break.
Somebody's
I
here.
do remember seeing that on in your schedule that you were having fun with somebody, but it was weeks apart.
It was weeks.
Yeah. So I get that for sure. We were all about, I would do like this printed out calendar, old school paper calendars that we love.
Yeah.
And it would have the big things and it was on the refrigerator. So like June, July, August, and they could see
what's coming up.
This trip
What's
to grandmother's, this trip is happening, this trip is happening. So like the big things, or like we're going to SeaWorld camp this week, or we're going to VBS this week, or whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So it was like a fun
I had
thing
the
to mark off.
whiteboard. I made a whiteboard
nice.
calendar.
Nice.
And my oldest, who's very creative, she would a lot of times draw on it, and sometimes there would be stickers, sometimes things. So
fun.
it was very fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Making it that. So do you feel a loss of that now that everyone's older, or like the grown-up version of our summer calendars is when the kids are going to be here, right?
Yes.
So when they're coming back and what that's going to look like. And for the most part, I would say, I think you use the 90%, 10% when we were talking about this topic, that for the most part, it's excitement. You're like in the driveway, so ready to get those kids home from college. Like you are just like,
you've gotten their room ready. You take time. You just think about all the details.
In the room, all the fun places.
We're giving out all our secrets right now.
Where are we going to go to dinner? Like special dinner, celebrating the end of the semester, like all those traditions and all those things that they are for them, but they're for us too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
I know sometimes we haven't been as organized. It's just life happens. And but if we can build a little anticipation with them of like, here's what we're planning on this week you're home, or this month you're home, or something, adjust back into family mode.
Yeah.
You are in independent living, doing your own thing mode. But this week, this month, this summer, this holiday break, family mode. And it really helped me to have that mindset because I didn't feel as offended when I was asked to do something or somebody needed me. So,
well, I know for me, one of the funny things is how much my kids, when they come back from college, love to cook. Because during college, they don't have access to a stove or an oven and things. And usually the first 2 or 3 weeks of summer, I mean, we have the best baked goods ever. And I just think it is the best because they literally just find recipes, they look on Pinterest, they do whatever they need to, and they come up with these great. And I'm like, just let me know what you need, and we'll make sure we get those ingredients because it's a lot of fun. Because it brings me joy to just see that. You know,
and you model that. You set up that there's family time, preparing meals, and all the cute hospitality things. I was at an event that the girls had put on for one of their graduations. And I was so impressed at how they work together, your 3 daughters, like very different personalities, very different approaches to things, even probably how they would host something. But they got in this mode of like, they were cleaning up a really elaborate setup for this party. And they just worked so well together. I was like, my jaw was down. I was like, this is so cool to see them.
To see that.
Like, they know how to do it. They've been allowed to be creative in that. That's another thing. People coming home, maybe making messes in your kitchen that you don't usually have, or having more shoes out or whatever. But it's like, this is temporary.
It's kind of that
savor.
Like people have told us, you know, when we had young kids and we had the older moms in our life, they would tell us, you will miss that someday.
Yes.
You will miss the
cleaning up those toys over and over and
everywhere.
Over and over.
You will miss those things around the house. And I really 100% can tell you will. Because then all of a sudden your quiet house, you know, is quiet and you miss that.
Yeah.
When you have a dream and you have a goal, the opposite of that is the disappointment or a defeat. And that does happen. And so, you know, we want to talk about the positive side of it, but also, you know, let's be real that those are hard. I mean, when the job interview doesn't go the way you want it to, when the promotion doesn't happen, when someone gets let go. There are tough times that are going to be ahead.
Yeah.
And we can't shelter our kids from all those things. Right. We can help them understand that it was part of our story too.
Right.
We've all had that
Right.
moment in time.
Right.
That it's okay. And that's when, if you're in accordance with God's will, if you are seeking him and what you're doing, he is going to give you the desires of your heart. And so maybe that defeat and maybe that difficulty is actually part of his plan.
Right.
And that's sometimes hard to understand.
I know.
Yeah.
And we don't love that.
Yeah.
We don't love that part, but also to let him change the desires.
Yeah.
If you in good conscience were pursuing something and it is not working out, it is not what you thought it was going to be, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of figuring out, what do we do next?
I think so.
I've heard the metaphor of like, I thought I was going to this tree, but at that tree, I then saw 3 roads that I couldn't see from back here.
Exactly.
You get up there and then you have more choices that you didn't have from back here. And so you're going in this direction,
vision.
But then it changes. And that's a perspective thing that only time can give sometimes. And so a little farther down the line, a little older, a little more wisdom, we get to turn back and say, hey, come on, you got this. We've been there. And we know that it's going to turn out for your good. Celebrating on different budgets, on different time constraints. Like, you have everybody home for one weekend.
Yes.
You may not be able to go on the long trip. You just can't get them all together. And some of those things. But I do feel like the planning is the thoughtfulness. The planning is the heart behind it, and saying, this matters. We're not going to let it like sneak up on us and then be like, oh, we didn't get to do anything. Just kind of looking ahead and reserving that time, especially with those adult kids. Like you have to say,
get on their
calendars. Right. And I've been trying, I can get a little review card from my kids, but I've been trying to say, we want you here. Here's the plan so that they can have the option.
Sure.
Because sometimes at the last minute, they just physically can't be there.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I'm going to go the extra mile to let you know this is happening, we want you to be involved in it.
I could probably learn from you on that one because I probably don't give them that option very often.
This is the plan.
This is the plan, and I expect you there.
And that's a family culture. That's fine. And that may be
not the best way to do it.
But you know what? No, I was going to say, I think the more people you have, there is that point of like, we've got it.
Sure.
Make this a priority.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to about launching into the world? Like something that's coming up that you can be excited about?
I don't know. I'm just kind of excited to like be in a new season again. Like, I would say like high school me didn't like change, but like that spontaneity, like I've become more adaptable to change.
Yeah. I like
and
that.
so like,
So good.
I am just excited for like a change of pace. Like, people like at the conference, they were talking and they were like, listen, post-grad is different, but like just like when you were in middle school, high school is better. When you're in college, when you were in high school, college is better. And so like when you're post-grad is better because you just have like each season can just kind of get better when you have good perspective. And so like, I mean,
that's awesome.
They're like, you have more free time to kind of like work on yourself. And so personally, I want to get into running because I'm not getting married. So I thought I'd run a marathon.
I love that goal.
That's
it's
so
a good
fun.
one. Yes.
Because
gonna do a Disney marathon.
You should do the Disney one.
I mean, there's so many like people online that are like, listen, I'm not getting married, so I guess I'll go run a marathon because those are like the 2 things you do in your 20s. So
I didn't know about that.
I didn't know.
So I was like,
I'm sure glad I was getting married because I didn't think I could default to the
Charlotte.
marathon.
Are you going to run a marathon?
On a treadmill.
I will not be running a marathon.
Marathon.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't know, like finding my hobbies that I like to do. And like, I found some in college, but then I kind of just ran out of time because I was a full-time student. I was involved in my sorority. Working, did a ministry on campus. And so it's just kind of like my time was split and I didn't really have time for hobbies because I was doing student stuff. So now I'm just kind of like,
that's nice.
That's cool.
Shout out to pickleball.
Pickleball.
I'm excited to get back into pickleball because I love
some cute paddles online you can get for that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a whole section in Target right now that's all these, it's like tennis clothes, but they're pickleball clothes.
Oh, that's fun.
Like,
So cute.
what? 80s.
It's very trendy.
Very
It's very
yeah.
good.
I'm really excited to not run a marathon. No, actually, yeah, I'm very excited to get married and start that journey along with my future husband. And then we're also going to be going into full-time ministry. And that's something that I felt the Lord has been calling me to since 10th, 11th grade. And so just to be able to...
A real dream turned to a reality.
It is.
Yes.
And so it's just been this really sweet thing.
Yeah.
Also to be able to do that with my husband is
Sure.
going to be just a dream I didn't even know to dream. And so I'm really excited about that. I think, well, I'm moving to another new state. I'm moving to North Carolina. And so that'll be a big change. And so it's just, I'm excited for the change. And like you said, like that used to be really hard. And now I love spontaneity. And like I thrive in it actually. And so I'm like really excited for the new stuff. But I just make sure that I come with gratitude first, just so that the worry doesn't creep in first.
Yeah.
But there's I actually do have a lot of things lined up, which I would not have expected. And it's literally only the Lord, truly. But I just like come in with gratitude. This is not in my own doing. If I came up with this plan, it would you looked so bad. But it was just the Lord doing things and me having to come with gratitude and then obedience. Yeah. And then there's really cool things.
It's kind of a trendy thing, I guess. My kids have done these for years, different activities that they've done, especially at the beginning of a school season. They kind of cast that vision, what are some of their things they want to get out of a certain year? Sometimes we might think, oh, dreaming, it's such a long thing or a long range. Well, a dream or a desire can be even a short-term goal.
Right.
And things. And sometimes we have to help coach our kids on developing those goals for themselves, because without a goal and without a plan, there's not going to be a successful future. It really does go hand in hand.
Yeah.
We have learned through our career and life that we've had in our family that's essential to success is to have those goals and dreams. So a dream board.
Where are you headed?
Yeah. Where are you headed?
Good. Good.
A dream can be as simple as something that, what are your likes? What are your desires of your heart and things? And a dream board is you can cut out pictures, you can make a Pinterest board, you can do whatever works for you. And it is a visual thing.
I feel like Florida's really hard. The tropical plants are great.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm enjoying just kind of checking on my little plant
Tinkering
babies
on
in the
them.
house.
Yeah.
It's like if I had like a gardening bench, I would be really happy in the middle of
your living room.
Family room.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I definitely think probably that outside, I do a lot of things. I loved even like transplanting plants and just really getting dirty, and doing that. And so it's a lot of fun and then it's also neat to kind of do that and then watch things grow. I didn't do it this year, but typically I do like an herb garden, and I haven't been able to do that this year just because of the summer heat and things. I might do one in the fall because we can.
Funny weather too.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have the rain we usually have, and I feel like I brought some things inside that were outside because they were scorching.
And the heat is too hot.
Yeah. So where I'm from, we did pine straw, but in Florida, what do y'all prefer, mulch or pine straw in your beds?
I would definitely say mulch, just because we do the wood chips and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of what we've done.
It's more common here.
Yeah,
I think throughout the southeast, I've seen more of the pine straw thing. So, and then do you grow flowers or vegetables or fruit in gardens? So
well, I have not had a lot of success growing fruit or vegetables, so I probably have stayed away from that. I'll give a shout out to one of my sisters, and she has a huge garden out in Idaho. And every year she starts from seeds to plant, big plants, and then she harvests everything by August and September and cans and does all that. And so she has the whole process and things, which actually is an ode to my grandfather. My grandfather was a gardener. He had a huge farm in Minnesota, and he had all sorts of things, like rows and rows. Like, I don't know how many acres he had, but they grew a ton of different things. And it's one of my early childhood memories is going to walk in his farm and his garden.
Yeah.
And so I think that green thumb might have come from that side. One idea that I wanted to share was about having like a date night jar where you just kind of, each of you maybe put 5 or 6 things in that jar. And then when it's date night, you just pull one out and it's the random thing. And if, you know, you guys each have something in there, then both people get to pick from it. And it's just a fun idea to just kind of make it new and fun.
Yes. And when you have small kids, you're going to have to book the sitter.
Yes.
Even if you don't have a great, awesome plan, like just get a babysitter if you can.
Yeah.
Or have those couch dates. Tons of, we had years of sporadic going out and a lot of just kids are in bed, make it a priority. Don't get on each other. Don't get on phones and go in different rooms, but like sit together, pick an activity you're going to do together, talk, decompress from your day.
And I think that you just hinted on the whole phone thing, you know, that sometimes it's so easy that's a way we all decompress. Right. You know, we kind of go into the scroll and you know, just see what's out there. But, you know, take that time, make the eye contact, think about things. And what also is kind of fun on a date night, especially if you're newly married, once you get your wedding photos back, is to go and look back at your wedding photos. That's and fun. You kind of remember the day, because honestly, it is a blur. Yeah. Like you get back from the wedding and you're just like, what happened? Yeah. So when those wedding photos come back and you can look at your wedding video and things like that, I mean, every anniversary, that's something we've done. So we've done that 26 almost that's 27 times. One verse that I did want to share for this time today is coming, you know, a lot of people use this as the wedding verse. It's in almost, you know, every marriage book, and it comes from 1 Corinthians 13. It's the passage from 4-8. And it talks about love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, and love never fails. And what's really neat about that is we were at a marriage workshop one time, and they said, every time you hear the word love, replace that with your spouse's name. And it really changes your perspective on how you think about them. And so if you do go through that and you say, so-and-so is patient, so-and-so is kind, so-and-so does not envy, does not boast, does not proud, it really does change your heart, especially if maybe you're in a time or a season that you're not in the word or doing things, and that maybe you're having some strife in your marriage. And so it's really, to me, that was very impactful that someone taught us one time.
Thank you so much for joining us today and watching our best of our favorites episode. Something a little different to have that put together for us. But we also just want to thank you, those of you that were the originals, the OGs who've been with us from the beginning.
All of our subscribers,
everybody that's watched every episode. Also new faces, you're always welcome. This might be a good time to look at your favorites or go back and catch one that you missed. We are cooking up something so fun and so good, which is season 2 is coming, and it is called The Sisterhood of Motherhood. So good. So we are going to be inviting a panel of guests. So we know you love having us, of course, but we also want to include other women who have encouragement for us, who are in different ages and stages of motherhood. Yes. And we want to share wisdom. We want to fight fear. Yes. And we want to lean into the goodness of God that He has for our homes and for our children.
We love that.
And benefit from community. Yeah. Coffee and conversation.
Let's
stick to the basics here.
Yes,
we know what that,
definitely.
We know how great that is, but we want to include some new faces with you for this upcoming season.
It's great.
During this little break between seasons and just while you all got all caught up, make sure you follow us on Instagram. We'll be doing some stories, some enrichment things about always adding extra scriptures there, things like that. That's just a great way to follow along. Yes. If you didn't know, we're on YouTube. We're on every session.
Yes, any platform. You've got
Every
Apple and
podcast
Spotify. Yes.
So all those.
of it.
Come and join us. We're so
Yes.
happy that you've been here with us.
And we just want to leave you with all the ways that we want to discuss and share at the end of each episode, and that we want to say our blessing, and that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you may be rooted and grounded in love, from Ephesians 3:17. And we want you to be refreshed,
be encouraged,
and stay well grounded.
Season 1! Yay!